if you told me a week ago that I was going to be sobbing in a movie theater at a Godzilla movie, I would tell you you're crazy.
Oh, it's time for class.
But my number one recommendation for the week is not streaming, but I have to talk about it.
Okay.
This is Godzilla Minus One. Holy shit.
So a lot of buzz on the internet before that movie.
Going into this week, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was my number one.
Yeah.
I kind of have a few options for number two. Maybe The Creator. That was really high up there for me. This, I think, has surpassed those. And I think this is my number one. I'm still kind of on a movie high from this. This is brought to us by Toho, the original Godzilla studio, which created Godzilla and has made countless Godzilla movies over the years.
Yeah.
The history and the franchise of Godzilla is really interesting, where they've licensed out Godzilla to various sources, bringing it to America, famously with the Roland Emmerich movie starring Matthew Broderick. Critically not handled well, and
I like that movie. That was fine.
It's fine. It was fine. But
The babies. The Godzilla babies.
Yeah.
Godzilla babies. And
I had a toy of one of those.
Yeah, and the redesign of Godzilla. So there's a number of rules that Godzilla has to follow, but that Toho requires when you license him out as a character in your movie. And part of that is how he looks, how many scales are down his spine.
Wow, it goes that specific.
Very specific,
Okay.
And that Godzilla is not supposed to be the bad guy. He never is supposed to be a villain. He's supposed to be like a sympathetic force almost.
Okay.
And that he doesn't outright kill people. Like, he might kill people by, the destruction.
Accident.
They just happen to be there where he's walking.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry.
He's like, I'm going to keep walking like this. And if you get in my way, that is your fault. Toho threw all the rules out in this one.
Really?
There is death. There is carnage. There are people being bitten in half and ripped in half.
By Godzilla?
By Godzilla. Yeah.
Wow.
He has such a huge mouth.
Purposefully.
How would he just bite one person?
So that's a valid question. Valid question, Joseph. Let me tell you. At the beginning of the movie, and I'm not going to give any major plot points away, but I will give some basics.
Big lizard.
At the beginning of the movie,
Big lizard.
lizard pretty big. At the end of the movie, lizard really big. This entire story could roll out without Godzilla even being in the movie. And when I say that, that means I'm essentially saying that the story is very human. And it takes place in a post-World War II Japan. And
So it's like a period piece.
it's a period piece. It is. And it actually takes place at the very beginning. There's like a flashback that takes place right in the final days of World War II. And it follows a kamikaze pilot who was ordered to kamikaze, knowing that Japan is about to basically secede to the war. It's a hard thing to do, to be given the order to go kamikaze, knowing what's going to happen in a week when we basically surrender.
Yeah.
And he has doubts, and he survives, and he goes back home to a home that's destroyed. His parents are killed, but his neighbors know that he was a kamikaze pilot, and he's returning, which means his life is shameful.
Oh, so he's ostracized.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
He's ostracized, yes.
He's ostracized. Yes. He's
Sorry.
very close. Ostracized. There you go.
Ostracized.
And he is absolutely a pariah in the community because he did a shameful act of returning to war when he was ordered to kill himself.
How dare you come back?
Yes. And the story, and that basically the story follows him and living with himself and the decision he's made, and he's happy that he has a life now and that he can rekindle with, reconnect with people in life and live a life, but it's a tortured life. And following him through his own life.
And somehow Godzilla
And
emerges from the sea.
Absolutely. Godzilla comes out
I heard what you did. Or didn't do.
Godzilla comes out of nowhere and wreaks havoc, and he feels a personal duty to do something about it because he almost feels like his life was owed. Like he's living on borrowed time because he already had his life given away, and he chose not to do it. So
I already know the ending of this movie.
all that being said, it's a very personal story. If you told me a week ago that I was going to be sobbing in a movie theater at a Godzilla movie, I would tell you you're crazy.
He kamikazes into Godzilla.
I had 3 separate moments where I got teary-eyed and 1 moment where I was openly weeping in the theater at this movie. I'm not, I was almost nobody around me, so I'm like, but goddamn, this fucking Godzilla movie. It really affected me. I cannot say enough about it. watch Godzilla Minus One and go see it in theaters because this movie was made off of $15 million.
Wow,
and it
really?
looks better than most movies that are made for 80 in Hollywood.
Well, you sold me.
Fucking go watch it. Go watch it in theaters and give it your money. And the director, I hope the director makes Godzilla plus one.
Godzilla.
Yeah, that sounds
-2.
great.
Yeah. The name comes from after World War II, Japan was knocked down to 0. And then Godzilla comes and they go to -1. That's where it comes from. They're in the negative now.
That's
so.
some deep lore right there.
Yep. So go see Godzilla -1 in theaters.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here.
The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you later.
See you later.
That's a wrap.
Great show.